Welcome back, little sinners, to another page in our Scorched tome. Tonight's entry burns with a particular sweetness. A tale of obsession, of warnings ignored, of something ancient that dwells in the high places where man was never meant to tread. This is the story of Michael Chen, the photographer who climbed Devil's Perch. Some sins are committed in a moment of weakness. Others unfold slowly, step by step, as the prideful ascend toward their doom. Let us begin. September 2019. The Colorado Rockies stood indifferent to the man who approached their slopes. Michael Chen was a photographer of some renown, collector of abandoned places, documenter of decay. His portfolio celebrated the beautiful rot of human ambition. Ghost towns and rusted factories, asylums left to crumble. But he hungered for something more, something untouched. When he heard whispers of Devil's Perch, an abandoned fire lookout 70 feet high, deep in wilderness, where the old maps warned do not enter, his pride would not let him resist. The locals refused to guide him, every one of them. That place takes people, the bartender told him. Started with the ranger back in '87, then hikers, climbers, photographers like you. They go up, they don't come back, or they come back wrong. Michael smiled. He'd heard such superstitions before. Every abandoned place had its ghost stories, its local legends meant to keep outsiders away. He'd never let fear stop him from getting the perfect shot. The hike was longer than the outdated ranger station map suggested. 3 miles of switchbacks through pine forest so dense the sunlight barely penetrated. The trail markers were ancient, some missing entirely, others painted over with crude warnings. Turn back. Death watches from above. Don't climb. Michael photographed each one. They'd make excellent content. By the time he reached the clearing, the sun was beginning its descent. And there it stood. Devil's Perch. A skeletal tower of rusted metal and rotting wood, reaching up like a crooked finger beckoning him closer. The structure swayed slightly in the wind, groaning. It was perfect. Michael ascended the metal stairs, his camera capturing every angle, every artistic decay. Each platform offered new perspectives. He should have noticed the silence. No birds, no insects. Even the wind had died to nothing. But the artist sees only what he wishes to see. The cabin at the summit was small, 10 feet square, windows on all sides, most of the glass long shattered. Inside, papers scattered across a rotted desk. Michael's curiosity pulled him to them. A ranger's logbook. The entries dated 1987. He read aloud, his voice echoing in the empty space. Day 43. Something is wrong with the forest. The animals are gone. Can't sleep. The tapping won't stop. It comes from below. Always from below. Moving up the tower. Gets closer every night. The next entry. A week later. I see them now. In the trees. They're not human. Not animal. Something else. They watch me. They're waiting. The final page, dated August 29th, showed only 2 words, written over and over in increasingly desperate handwriting. Don't climb. Don't climb. Michael felt the first whisper of unease. They'd never found that ranger. The tower was decommissioned shortly after, but surely it was just a man driven mad by isolation. Surely. He moved to the windows, shaking off the feeling. The view was extraordinary. Miles of untouched wilderness, mountains painted in gold and crimson by the setting sun. This was why he'd come. This was the shot that would define his career. As he lined up another photograph, he saw movement at the tree line below. At first he thought it was a deer, but it moved wrong. Too tall, too angular. It stood at the edge of the clearing, perfectly still, and even from 70 feet above, Michael felt its gaze. He raised his camera, zooming in through the viewfinder. What he saw made his hand shake. It stood on 2 legs, but the proportions were twisted. Arms too long, reaching nearly to the ground. Head tilted at an angle that would snap a human neck. Its skin, if it could be called skin, was the color and texture of old bark, of tree rot, of things that should be dead. Then he saw another, and another. They emerged from the forest like thoughts materializing from shadow. 5, 7, 10, more, circling the base of the tower. The tapping started. One of them touched the metal beams. Tap, tap, tap. Then another joined in, and another. The sound echoed up through the hollow tower surrounding him, a rhythm like fingernails on coffin wood. And then he heard footsteps on the stairs below. Something was climbing. Michael grabbed his equipment, his mind racing. The only way down was through whatever climbed toward him. He could see it now through the gaps in the floorboards. Its fingers wrapped around each step. Too many joints, moving in ways that defied anatomy. It reached the platform just below, stopped, then began scratching at the wood, testing it. Michael backed toward the window. 70 feet down, trees below. If he could reach a branch. The door was old, rotted. It wouldn't hold. He climbed out onto the exterior catwalk, the narrow metal platform that ringed the cabin. The wind hit him immediately. The railing shook under his grip. He didn't look back, couldn't look back. He ran along the catwalk to where an emergency ladder was bolted to the tower's exterior. A straight drop, 70 feet of rusted metal. He climbed down, hands scraped raw on rust, camera bag swinging wildly. A rung broke beneath his foot. He caught himself, kept descending. 20 feet, 15. Then he saw them waiting below, gathered around the base of the ladder, looking up with faces that weren't faces. He was trapped. Can't go down, can't go up. A pine tree grew close to the tower, its branches reaching out perhaps 6 feet away. Behind him, something descended the ladder fast. Michael jumped. Pain exploded through his body, but adrenaline pulled him to his feet. He ran. They chased. He could hear them moving through the trees, around him, above him, faster than anything natural. The sun was setting. Darkness was coming. He found the trail by pure chance, stumbled down it in the failing light, lungs burning, legs screaming. They stopped at the forest edge, didn't follow him beyond the trees, just watched as he ran to his car, as he drove away, as he fled into the safety of civilization. Michael told himself he'd escaped, told himself it was over. He checked into a motel 50 miles away, triple locked the door, kept every light burning until dawn. When morning came, he examined his camera. The photos were all there. The sunset, the cabin, the logbook. But the shots of the tree line, the ones he'd taken before dropping his camera, showed nothing. Just empty forest. No figures, No watchers. He could have left it there, could have driven home, deleted the files, forgotten. But pride, little sinners, is a wound that festers. Michael Chen was not a man who ran from abandoned places. He built his reputation on going where others feared. 3 days later, he returned. This time he brought proper climbing equipment. Rope, harness, a plan. He told himself he needed to retrieve the camera lens he'd dropped. Needed to get clearer photos. Needed to prove what he'd seen, or prove he'd seen nothing. The forest was silent as he climbed. The same oppressive quiet. The same watching darkness between the trees. The tower groaned its welcome. He ascended again, pride warring with terror, until he stood once more in that cabin at the summit. Everything was as he'd left it. The scattered papers, the broken door, his lens on the floor, cracked but intact. He should have taken it and left, but the light was perfect. Golden hour, the shot he'd come for. He raised his camera to the window. In the viewfinder he saw them, not at the tree line this time. Closer, standing in the clearing, looking up, waiting. And he understood then what the ranger had realized too late. They weren't guarding the tower. They were feeding it. Devil's Perch wasn't named for its height or danger. It was named for what lived there. What had always lived there. What drew the curious and the prideful up into its embrace. The tower itself was hungry. The metal beneath his feet began to warm. The wooden walls contracted, the cabin shrinking, closing in. Michael ran for the door, but it had sealed shut. The windows too. The tower had him. He tried to break through, but the metal bent away from his blows. The wood grew soft and sticky. The whole structure was changing, transforming, revealing what it had always been beneath the rust and rot. Something alive. Something patient. Something that had been waiting since long before men built their watching posts. That had learned to wear the shape of human construction. To draw in those who thought themselves above superstition. The search party found his car 3 weeks later. They didn't find Michael Chen. When they looked up at Devil's Perch from the safety of the tree line, they saw the tower still standing, still swaying, still waiting. But if you looked closely, if you climbed despite all wisdom, you might notice something new. A shape pressed into the wood of the cabin walls. The outline of a man, arms outstretched, mouth open in an eternal scream. Trapped in the structure like an insect in amber. Preserved forever in his final perfect shot. And so, another name buns its way into these scorched pages. Michael Chen, the prideful photographer who climbed when all wisdom screamed to turn back, who returned when escape was offered, who learned too late that some places are abandoned for reasons deeper than decay. Until next time, little sinners, keep your eyes on the high places. You never know what's looking back.